simply wanted to find out how to play the guitar and put what I was learning into words. So I went to Walmart and got a chord chart, which I tacked up in my room. Because my dad and I had a lot in common, both in terms of appearance and behavior, I reasoned that if he could get away with it when he was around 25, I could attempt to do the same thing. People normally understand me when I say regular things, but they constantly ask, "Where are you from?" I instinctively lean country, therefore it's evident that my voice is very southern. Moreover, beer. I suppose we'll see if I can beat the Luke Combs tour, but I'm not sure how. Not even tomorrow is guaranteed to us. I make an effort to concentrate on what I like doing, and if the opportunities, recognition, and sales of tickets continue to materialize as they are, I will take pleasure in them, live my life to the fullest, and express my gratitude. It's also usually a good idea to return home, spend time with your loved ones, and perform music with your family. I think it's the core of who I am and where I came from. Wherever life takes me, I'll always be the same man at my core. I'm not at all the person I try to be. After I signed a publishing contract, I spent 6 months writing nonstop. I think that God exists. That was only an attempt to improve and discover my voice and preferred method. My dad always had a mullet whenever my parents were married. It's a way of life, after all. You can never predict what will occur. My mother saw that I was interested in the music from an early age. I was a huge fan of Breaking Benjamin and similar bands. I was a fan of Led Zeppelin, Eagles, and Lynyrd Skynyrd. I began composing songs and playing the guitar as a way to express my emotions. In my opinion, the most relatable and finest music is that which is genuine enough for listeners to feel like they are in it. That's the strategy I'm using. I believe that during the height of whiskey glasses, I came to the realization that, man, this is really starting to happen. They are a huge aid in keeping me in check. Although I have a rebellious side, I'm not nasty. The 10 Commandments are no longer taught in schools. I was going to play college ball, but I tore my ACL in my senior year, so college sort of fell out of the picture with their offer, which is understandable. I started doing sports as soon as I was able to walk and move. Up-down person is not a reputation I want to have. I like many genres of music, but I really enjoy a nice, slow song. Some people claim that, but I'm not sure how it's feasible or how it occurs. Being named New Vocalist of the Year is not something I aspire to achieve. All I do is attempt to live one day at a time. I used to simply say, "I'll sing your choruses," while recording songs with a buddy who was a rapper. That was the first time I ever did that. He would then enter and rap when I would sing his hooks. I try, however. Since life is like way, all I want is to be able to do everything. That's what you're going to witness if you catch me on stage. Immediately after high school, when I was 12 or 13 years old, I really got into the band Three Doors Down. I'm not really an award type person. That's not what motivates me. I wouldn't say that listening to country music was my first love when I was younger. I never even played with toys, according to my mom. I was thinking, maybe I can write, while I was penning all these tunes at home. I'm not sure I have the answers, but I consider myself to be a person of faith, and I think that many people have disregarded God. A mullet and cut-off flannel. My family and my friends from back home are still with me. The fact that music can accomplish that is simply awesome. And when I was a child, I used to have extremely, incredibly blonde hair. That would be fantastic if such things materialized, but it's not what I aim for. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we've all experienced a breakup to the point where you didn't want it to end. That's what I was rocking when I was a tiny child, blonde bowl cut. Baseball was my first passion, always, and it still is. Christian and classic rock music were my childhood favorites. When my pals and I would play around bonfires, folks would compliment me on how talented I was. People behave as if the 10 Commandments are something very awful, and we simply ignore everything. I always went to church when the doors were open when I was a child. I was unsure about my writing ability. I was given a guitar by my dad. If I start behaving like some kind of celebrity or whatever, my great-grandmother, who is 91 years old, would rise up from her chair and give me a whipping. I'm eager to see the United Kingdom. I sort of take it that God has a purpose and a plan for you at the end of the day. That's something you write on your gravestone, after all. It gives me great encouragement to hear that people are not just listening to my song, but the whole album. You never know what will happen when you release something. I want to sell albums and get more followers. Baseball is what I played. After my senior year, I took a few months off, during which I prayed and attempted to determine my purpose and goal. I believe that we can all agree on what they say. I'm eager to see it for myself, since I've always heard how incredible the fans are there. I make an effort to give them a call and discuss their daily lives. Since I was 3 years old, I have sung in churches and other places whenever I have the opportunity. Even though you may not enjoy a song, you may still connect with it if you don't believe in what you're doing, don't feel comfortable, or aren't meaning what you're saying. If you don't, however, I think others can tell. Nobody, in my opinion, embodies the ideal that we try to live up to. That was not very good. It seems to me that people don't take you seriously right away. When my mother said, "I signed you up for this singing show," I had no idea what the voice was, so I was like, all right, I guess. I suppose you could say I've always had a musical bone in me. Being able to connect with others who may not share my experiences or even understand the topics I cover in some of my songs is great. For the first time in my life, I would certainly suggest listening to my first track, The Way I Talk, to get the greatest sense of who I am. I think I've grown to know Chicago very well, and I always get great feedback when I visit. The plant is always unknown to you. Both vodka and whiskey are things I like. I did hear some country music, but it wasn't until I began listening to Eric Church that it really became a part of my life. My life was really dismal at that time. I didn't want to come out as very cool for school or anything. I strive to include themes that I know people like me can connect to in my songs, even if I am aware of my small-town background and lowly beginnings. My cut was like a bowl. I've always enjoyed a wide variety of musical genres. I think that he is real, that he is in charge of a number of things, and that many nations have failed to follow him throughout history, with disastrous consequences. These were a few of my top picks. My expectations are really high. People are really involved in what I'm doing, and are singing not just these songs, but every song on my album. I am aware that a record has to be successful for it to endure. Even simply hearing my name and the term Grammy in the same phrase would be a dream come true for my parents, who are huge supporters of mine. There is definitely more to me than simply a party, even if I like singing that song. Really, I wasn't raised as a performer. Many comment that I speak nearly like a country gangster. I continue to experiment with other genres of music, but my roots are in country music. We experience many phenomena for which we have no explanation. My father is a clergyman, unquestionably a bowl cut.